Hello, I am Pastor Horace Douty in Lexington, Virginia, and each Sunday I bring you a Bible meditation by way of YouTube, and I encourage you to subscribe to Horace Douty, D-O-U-T-Y, YouTube, and share these presentations with your family and with your friends. I appreciate it. Today, the title is 5,000 Hungry People. There is in the New Testament a story, fascinating story, which stretches belief. Jesus and his disciples had gone to quite a bit of effort in order to get away from the crowds. They traveled by boat around the lake to what seemed to be a remote, unpopulated spot, but before they could even make camp, people assembled from all directions, hoping for miraculous healing at the hands of Jesus. Some of them had probably witnessed paralyzed cripples standing up and walking. Mark tells us that at least 5,000 people were there, which sounds incredible. But Matthew and Luke relate the same story with those same big numbers. And Jesus described that mob as he looked out upon them as sheep without a shepherd. By the end of that day, he had become their good shepherd. I suspect that Jesus would look at our world today and see many sheep without a shepherd. In his day, a flock of sheep could not survive on their own. The shepherd alone knew how to find the green pastures and the quiet waters. With rod and staff and slingshot, he protected the flock, defenseless animals, from savage predators. Most parents, but not all, do the same thing today for their children. I wonder how Jesus would react as he watches young and old getting their guidance not from wise teachers, not from parents, not from grandparents, but from a screen. Many of them grow up without hearing a single word about how to live honorably, happily, productively. Jesus probably pities them as sheep without a shepherd because they don't know good from evil, right from wrong. Mark says that Jesus taught the multitude, quote, many things they needed to know. What things? We don't know. We can assume that this sermon was similar to the teaching which Matthew spells out in the account of the Sermon on the Mount. And there, Jesus very simply explained the difference between good and evil and how to live fruitfully in this world. Information not always available in our own culture. I want to say a good word for those disciples. They knew it was getting late. People were getting hungry. And so they mentioned this to Jesus. Good for them. Every preacher should know something. No matter how fine his sermon may be, end it before mealtime, or there will be trouble. Those disciples reasonably suggested that the crowd be dismissed so that they could go to the farms and villages for food. But Jesus obviously had something else in mind. He said to those men, "You give them food to eat." Of course they protested. His order was unreasonable, impossible. But they did find some biscuits and 2 fish, and Jesus took that meager lunch, said a blessing, and began to pass out portions to the servers. And everybody had enough, and afterward, the story says, the cleanup crew gathered 12 baskets of scraps. That is a happy ending. For 20 centuries, people have wondered and debated what really actually happened that afternoon. Now, here's what I take from the story. When Jesus blesses your meager resources, the job can get done. Consider St. Paul. Paul faced a culture of Greek wisdom, much of it far superior to his own training. He was not famous for his healing powers. He had no specific power of speech, but the same Lord who did not get nervous when he looked out at 5,000 hungry people and had only a small lunch to satisfy them, that same Lord looked at Paul and said, it's enough. Get busy. Paul did. He obeyed. And Paul impacted our world. Generations have been fed by weak disciples, people like you, serving their pitiful loaves with Christ's blessing. You do the same. When your heart goes out to someone who is hurting, don't hold back because you don't know what to say or you think you have nothing to offer. Your smile, your touch, your word may be the very thing that she or he needs. Tiny though it may be in your eyes, there are multitudes out there today needing to be fed. And Jesus may be looking at you and saying what he said to those pessimistic disciples so long ago, you give them something to eat. Amen. God bless you.